having an issue with Garcelle is very risky. To go back and forth with Garcelle, it's going to be made into a racial issue. And
Garcelle.
No,
I
I
believe
don't.
I
I
believe
don't
that's
agree
a
with that.
point of view that many of them have or have had.
You think she weaponizes her race?
For me, I do think so, and I think that
That was a huge statement. Can we just focus on that? How has Garcelle weaponized her race in this group? Tell me something that she has said that was
I
weaponizing
don't
her.
agree with that. I really don't agree with
That
that.
was a big
I
statement.
think
That was a
coming
big
into a
statement.
predominantly white city and in a predominantly only white cast, if anything, it's been weaponized against
Against
her.
her.
Hey, it's a brotherhood. Woohoo!
hey everyone, it's your bro Mitch Kimbrough, and you're watching Bro Chat, where me and my bros debate your favorite topics. Today we're talking about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. So Garcelle is accusing Boz of being Dorit's spokesperson.
It didn't take a rocket scientist to understand what was going on.
You came in strong.
I am strong. If you're going to just be fair about it, let's be fair. But you can't be hypocritical and call me somebody's spokesperson.
Stop being Dorit's spokesperson.
Garcelle, a million times, and even in that particular situation, was giving excuses for why Sutton was behaving poorly.
Victor, who do you think is more blindly loyal between Garcelle and Boz?
I would probably have to say Buzz. I think it's Buzz's first season. I really like Buzz. I think she's really fun. I think she brings a lot to the show. I love what she has to say. But I do see her in certain situations inserting herself when she doesn't necessarily hasn't gathered all of the context. When Dorit made that kind of inappropriate joke about the alcohol to Sutton, and Sutton called her the B word, and then Sutton ran out. She kind of approached them, not to kind of be like, what happened, and try and understand and gain the information, but to be like, why are you coddling her? Come back. And I feel like she should have taken the time to watch the seasons or just learn from most sides and be a bit more balanced. I think the difference with Garcelle is Garcelle and Sutton literally started their journey on Beverly Hills together, and they've been there a similar amount of time.
I disagree. I feel like because I agree. I love Garcelle and I love Sutton equally for what they bring to the show, but I don't think Bob is being blindly loyal. I think she's just calling out the BS that she sees. I don't think it's blind loyalty. Blind loyalty is
Right.
just taking it. She's watching all these things happen to Dorit and is like, "This is all wrong."
Yeah, because listen, Eric is saying it very plainly. Like if one of us was texting Eric's husband, we'd be breaking the bro code.
We
There's
would.
no
Hundred
doubt about
I agree
percent.
it.
about Kyle,
What
but
would
not
be the
about Sutton.
point?
I
Yeah.
don't agree about Sutton.
Damien, do you think that Boz is being blindly loyal to Dorit?
No, and if we're going to compare who's blindly loyal to whom, everybody's been loyal to somebody when you're in this reality TV game because you got to have an ally. And I think it boils down more to these girls thought that they like to pander to the audience. So they thought coming into this season that Dorit was going to be the sacrificial lamb and nobody was going to really, the fans were not going to care for Dorit. So
Hmm.
when Boz comes in and jumps on the Dorit bandwagon, the girls are kind of like, what is she doing? We want the narrative to go this way. So I think it was
Yep.
more so a Garcelle being like, she didn't have to say it, but to me, she said it when she said, "Why are you being so blindly loyal to Dorit?" You don't want her to have Dorit's side. That's what it boils down to. When at the end of the day, Dorit's going through a lot with her marriage right now and this
Yep.
divorce, and they should all
Yep.
rally around her. And let's be clear, Garcelle. Do we want to talk about being blindly loyal? Come on now. And I like you and Sutton. I do. But
I do
every time
too.
someone has had something to say about Sutton, you've been there as her cheerleader to defend it. So what are we talking about here? Yeah.
Well, bros, Victor, before you respond to that, I want to say this. I agree with what Damien said 1,000,000%. Because I don't know if y'all remember Watch What Happens Live. On Watch What Happens Live, Garcelle said that Erika is Dorit's only friend on the show.
He wants to know if you were surprised that Erika was the first person Dorit told about her separation from PK in the group, considering Erika's huge dig at their relationship at BravoCon.
I was surprised, but when you look at it, really, that Erika was the only person left.
Okay.
She put that out there with the impression that Dorit was going to be on an island. But little did she
Yep.
know, Boz was going to join the show with fresh eyes. Of course, Boz does not have every piece of context. She doesn't. But she's on the show with fresh eyes. And it is a breath of fresh air to see someone unbiased looking at Dorit's situation. Dorit needs a friend. And that friend is not
It's
Kyle.
not
And it
Kyle.
is not Garcelle.
Yeah.
It's
Can I
not.
say
It is
something
not
though?
Kyle. It is not
I
Kyle.
do think this is just, and this could be completely false. This is just, what I believe happened. I do believe going into this season, a producer pulled Boz to the side and said, "Look, Dorit needs a friend. She needs
Yeah, I
somebody.
think so
She's
too.
isolated into a corner. See if hopefully you guys organically mesh. But hey, here's the note. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it feels like to me. However, luckily for them,
I don't
it played
know.
out. I think it worked
I
for
don't know if
them.
you. My only fight for that is I can relate to Boz where if I was thrown into that situation and the way she described it in the beginning where she was like, Dorit likes to talk and I like to listen to people gossip, I
Mm-hmm.
can relate. I can see them casting her specifically for that reason
Mm-hmm.
and then throwing her in the lion's den and seeing if it works. Because
Mm-hmm.
I would naturally gravitate if I was just thrown in there to someone like Dorit who's going to sit there and tell me her man's drunk,
Yeah.
her man's not. Like, if we're at a
Right.
party and you want to sit there and tell me the tea, I'm going to sit there and listen to every bit of that tea. I am a Spanish old lady at heart. We're gonna have some coffee and we're gonna listen to that tea. So I totally think that that was. It could have been, but I felt it was pretty natural because she was. I didn't feel like she was right with Dorit from the beginning. It was like Dorit walked into that first party and everybody was trying to fight her. Everybody had a
Okay.
problem with Dorit.
Yeah.
Okay, can I interject for a
Yes,
second?
yes.
I feel like I understand Dorit's going through a lot, and I think it's really nice that she has this friendship with Boz. But then at the same time, I don't think when you invite someone to your house, you make them wait downstairs for 40 minutes, you're making weird comments about their bag, and then you throw some offhanded remark about them drinking alcohol. I don't think you're a victim. And someone else who doesn't think Dorit's a victim is Boz. Boz did a recent interview with Access Hollywood, and Boz said she doesn't think that Dorit is a victim in the situation with Sutton. Given the history, looking at it, she doesn't think that. So if you
But see, the
don't
thing
think,
is, I don't think it's playing victim either.
can
At
you
the end
give
of
me
the
one
day, you have to
second?
understand who you're
Can you
with.
just give me 1 second? So I feel like
Okay.
I don't think she is
Sorry.
the, no, but I don't think she's the
Go
victim,
ahead.
and I think that Dorit has that history. She did bring up the driver thing to embarrass Sutton. She did start this whole thing at this event. Sutton was responding. So Boz, knowing that Sutton's not a victim, not Sutton, but knowing that Dorit's not a victim in this situation, why wouldn't she try and gather a bit more information, be a bit more unbiased? But to go and represent Dorit and go to Sutton and say, "Come back, you guys are coddling her," when you've admitted yourself that Dorit's not a victim, is bias.
But Victor, what's the alternative? What's the alternative? Because the point that I'm
So she
raising,
didn't need to leave her chair and go there and go and speak to them. That's the alternative. You could have just stayed out of it.
the
With that
point that I'm
situation. With the
raising,
Kyle stuff,
the
I
point,
get.
the
But
point
with
that I'm
that
raising
situation, I
about
just
the
don't
point
think
that
she
I'm
needed
raising
to.
about what Garcelle, for instance, was saying at that Watch What Happens Live, saying that the only friend that Dorit has is Erika. It's like she's already assigning Dorit her island
She was just
all
making an
by herself.
observation. I don't think she was assigning her an island by herself. But I do think that if you're gonna jump in and you are going to, I don't think it's that Boz can't step in, but know your data and know your context and know the information if you are gonna
You
step in.
don't
Or
need
she could
data.
easily
You
gone
don't
to
You
need
don't need
Sutton.
context.
data. You don't need
She could have
You
data.
don't
easily
need
gone to
data or
Sutton and asked her
context.
what's going on. Why did you react that way? That's not where the
No, I don't. No, you don't need data and context when you see wrong is wrong and
what
right
was
is
wrong.
right when it comes to how someone is being treated.
What did Sutton do in that situation that was wrong? So Dorit, whose husband has alcohol issues, who she's speaking about, she knows that it's a sensitive thing. She said an insensitive joke and remark about Sutton potentially having an alcohol issue, which is very damaging. Sutton responded volatilely, as of course, and called her the B word, and then she had a response and then she walked away. What was being done wrong? Sutton's saying, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm taking myself out of the equation. What's being done wrong to Dorit in this situation?
Me looking at
That Buzz
Dorit.
needs to sit to step
Let me
in.
answer the point you raised because it's a good question. Let me answer it because I have an answer. The thing about Dorit versus Sutton, when I'm watching the two of them, I feel that Sutton is reacting to Dorit in a way where it's like it's a delayed reaction. She's reacting to things that have happened previously
No, she was
because she
reacting to the
didn't have.
remark that was made in the
Let me
moment because Dorit made the
let me
comment in the
answer. You
moment.
asked a
She
really
made the
good
comment then.
question. I it deserves an answer. She's reacting to things that happened in previous seasons because she didn't have an answer for it at the time. These really sharp reactions to Dorit, I don't think it's fair. And I don't think that Dorit and Sutton's issues are just on Dorit all by itself. Sutton has delayed reactions that do not have a place on this particular season.
I don't agree. I think that Dorit hadn't apologized for the alcohol thing. So they kind of swept it under the rug, but it hadn't really properly been resolved. And I think when Dorit said that, it was triggering because those allegations had been there. And I think I've come to
I
your
think that's what
house.
Sutton is
I've
knows people are
I've
going to say
I've
that.
waited
Right.
40
It's
minutes. I've waited
I think
I've
Sutton knows
waited
people are going to
I'm
say that, so
Sutton. I'm
she
it's
Sutton.
plays it that
triggering
way.
because it
I'm
might be
Sutton.
true.
I'm Sutton.
Or it's also just
I'm
playing
Sut
it that
yeah,
way
I'm
because she
Sut
knows people are going
okay.
to give her
I'm
that
Sutton.
reaction.
I've waited 40 minutes. You didn't even greet me when you came down. You greeted Kyle, you
There was an
hugged
entire party
Kyle.
coming down. She could have just walked to the back. There was an entire
She
party
didn't
happening.
greet
She could have
her,
walked.
and then
She
you
made it a
made some
problem.
weird,
She
awkward
wanted to
remark
make it a
about I'm gonna
problem.
take your
She could have walked
bag,
in. There was an
and then
entire
she's
party
making this
happening in the
weird.
Hold on,
backyard. We saw
one at a
them.
time. Eric, finish your point.
Because he keeps the 40-minute thing, yeah, cute. First of all, that's happened a million times in a million different housewives, and not that reaction has happened. Secondly,
Well,
there was a
because
full
Dorit
party
made the
going on in the
remark after
backyard.
the fact.
There was
She didn't say that after she waited 4 minutes. She said that after Dorit made a rude joke about her alcohol thing, an insensitive remark. They don't have that type of banter, that relationship where Dorit can say that. They don't.
Yeah,
So why would you say that?
let Eric finish the point that he was making.
Yeah, so there's an entire party happening in the back. So you weren't just waiting by yourself in a mansion. You weren't waiting. Remember when Sonia had them waiting in that foyer that was cold, that was freezing for 2 hours? Come on, girl. Like it feels very. It just feels very like
Coddling.
I'm a victim. Yeah, I'm a victim. I'm a victim. Sutton, neither one of them are victims. They have both said and done some nasty things to each other. That's the problem.
Hmm.
I don't think one outweighs the other. I think if you want me to have compassion for Sutton, I'm going to have compassion for Dorit as well. It's not that she's a victim. I don't think she's a victim, but I think that exactly what Mitch said, the reaction was really crazy unwarranted. If you wanted to leave, you should have just left, but she didn't. She went into the bathroom. She cried. She sat in the foyer. I'm having a bad time. She did the same thing on Magic Mike. It was the exact same reaction. It was I want people to come. And
Yeah.
that's what Buzz was reacting to. She wasn't saying, oh, I agree with Dorit. She said, let's go over here and finish it because we're housewives. So let's confront it and let's fix it. Instead of two separate groups, Dorit's completely by herself at her party. Everybody's at the front door making a scene. There's a little bit of, if you talk about context, there is a difference in that context.
I
You're
just
at
don't
her
think
house.
I don't think
If that,
Boz
if she would
know
have done that
why it
at
was
her house,
sensitive.
if Dorit would have done that at Sutton's house, you don't think she would
Well,
have had
Sutton
that
ma-
kind of
if
reaction?
no, if Sutton made a jab at Dorit, Dorit would have absolutely reacted as well, and Dorit's been reacting.
100%. And then Sutton they would have both done the same thing. I don't think either one of them
Yeah,
are
but
exclusively showing us something that's
no, I
like,
just think if
come
you make a
on,
jab at
no,
someone and they leave
no,
your house and they have a
no.
reaction to
Kyle
it, it's
was way more.
justified.
They
She was not
even
welcoming him.
did a
They're filming a
flashback.
TV show.
Fix your audio before you
You're
yell. Fix your
filming a
audio
TV
before you
show.
yell.
Oh, not fix my audio, honey. They're filming a TV show. They're filming a TV show.
Exactly. So why are you
And
in the corner crying? Come
and
face
you
me.
know, Dorit knew when she came down and she didn't greet Sutton, she made her way and then didn't even greet her. That
Dorit
was
made Andy wait
intentional
at the
because
reunion.
you know
It's not exclusive to
you
Sutton. That's the problem.
no,
Sutton's
it was
making it about her.
intentional. She's
Dorit
doing
was
passive
30
aggressive
minutes
stuff.
late to the
That's
reunion. Do you
intentional.
not
She's
remember
doing
when
passive
Andy
aggressive
was like,
things.
"We're waiting for
That's
we're waiting for
intentional.
Dorit to be
No.
sewn into her dress." this is not exclusive. I'm not saying
But she
there's
didn't
but
greet
it's not
her. She
exclusive
didn't
to
greet
Sutton.
Okay,
her.
bros,
She
It
bros,
didn't
was
bro,
greet
not
her.
exclusive to
bros, bros.
Sutton. It
Listen,
wasn't
listen to
exclusive to
this.
Sutton.
Having an issue with Garcelle is very risky. To go back and forth with Garcelle, it's going to be made into a racial issue. And
Garcelle.
No,
I believe
I don't
that's
agree
a
with that.
point of view that many of them have or have had.
I think I think that's Karen behavior, because if you don't have tendencies, or if you don't put microaggressions, there's nothing to
Tendencies.
worry about. That would be like me walking in here being scared to argue with you because I'm lighter skin and you're darker skin. I'm not scared to argue with you because I know
And
I'm
we
not going to say
do.
anything. We do, because I'm not going to. That's not in my vocabulary. That's not in my speech. I'm not scared of that because that's disgusting. And
I ain't
the
for that.
way that they worry about it, girl. Why you worried? But why we
Right.
worried?
Right.
But why we worried? It's just another person. It's just another person. It's no. And you have to be receptive of it, because what were we talking about before? Puppygate? Like,
Well, and for the first time in life, people are having to be aware of what they say because for the longest they've gotten away with
Pam!
saying little things. You know
Pam!
what I mean? And
Pam
now
Pam!
I think like, and that's why I hate when we and I don't want to get political, but people kind of go after the whole woke thing. Oh, like it's bad to be woke. No, we're just not taking shit anymore. We're just not
Oh,
going to deal with the bigotry anymore. You know?
I just feel like if Garcelle can move forward with Erika, who cussed out her son, then Garcelle should be able to have some forgiveness, to have some conversation, to have some understanding towards Dorit. Because I just don't think Dorit has done anything near worse than what Erika did to Garcelle's son.
Hmm.
Can I step in, please?
Yes.
Hello. Okay, thank you. So I feel like Dorit has done things that have been really uncomfortable
that's
towards
true.
Garcelle. When we
He's
see,
not lying.
saw
That's
Garcelle
true.
first came on the show, she pinned her as a bully. That's what she did. She did pin her
She
as a
did.
bully. We've seen her
She did.
also say she attacked her, and then when
She did.
Garcelle was responded to the attack and said you kind of had this unconscious Karen behavior, she said, "Well, I'm Jewish, so I can't have that." And then we also saw Dorit in that scene speaking about I have loads of black people and brown people who all work for me. And then Garcelle said, "Is it only the black and brown people who work at your house?" And she said,
But let's
"No.
not forget
My
Sutton's stuff
my
too. If
my
we're gonna
mom's
call out
best friend,
Dorit, we gotta remember Sutton.
she said my mom's best friend is black. That's what she said.
I'm
So
not
no,
disagreeing with you, but
but
Sutton has had the same kind of issues.
But the
And Garcelle
difference,
has not been on
but
top of it the
but
same
the
way she's been on top
difference
of other girls.
but the difference is Dorit put the angry black woman narrative on Garcelle. That's
Agree,
dangerous.
but
And the
Sutton
difference is,
Sutton has done some racist things
yeah,
to
but
both
Dorit
Crystal
literally
and
admitted
you
that
can't
she
say
doesn't have any
but. She
black.
did racist things. There's no
Yes,
other but.
that
Two
she
racist
had
things are bad.
microaggressions
There's no
too,
other but.
but she
Two
did it.
racist things are bad. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
but she
So there's no but for
apologized.
me.
But the difference to me
I don't care if
is,
you
I feel,
apologize.
I feel like Dorit did the fact that she hasn't had black friends, that the only person who she's saying besides Garcelle who's been black, who's been to her house, who wasn't working there, was her mom's best friend. It shows me there's a lack of context and that she doesn't have a very diverse group. And I just
And
feel like
Sutton
this
does?
And
energy,
that's a lot. That's a
I
lot
think
of Beverly
Sutton has,
Hills folks.
more of a
Mama,
diverse.
I think you are being a little blind loyal right now to
No, I
Sutton, and
don't
I
think I'm
like
being blind
Sutton. I
loyal.
love Sutton, but
Just
to
sluttons
say
over
that
here.
about Sutton is a little weird because Sutton has said some nasty,
Yeah,
weird
she
things
said
on the
some nice,
show. But so we can't. I mean, it's still
but
true,
Dorit put a
Mama.
more
Like,
dangerous
Eric,
narrative.
let
Dorit put a
Victor
more dangerous narrative,
finish that
and
last
she,
Victor, finish that last
yeah,
point that you're making.
yeah. I think Dorit put. I just think Dorit put a more dangerous narrative comparatively between the both. I think her responding to and saying I'm Jewish and trying to use her
I don't
Judaism
agree
as a
with that. I'm
defense
not
of
saying you're
them.
wrong. I
I
don't want you to
think
think I'm saying
I
you're
think
wrong. I
that
just think
I
we got
think
to hold both of them accountable.
comparatively that's more dangerous. And for me personally, I understand why Garcelle doesn't find Dorit genuine. I don't find her genuine. She's coming from an accent. She literally has
She's coming
a
from an
British
So you're
accent.
mad?
accent.
Wait, are you
And
mad
she,
at Madonna now?
I, yes, I'm mad at who,
Girl,
but Madonna's
why?
back
All
to
those girls do
normal.
that.
Madonna's back to normal. But when you hear Dorit yelling, the American accent comes back. And I just feel like we've seen this new persona of Dorit. And I'm cool with Dorit holding Carl accountable. I just think when it comes to Sutton, it's misplaced. And I
I
don't
think
need
that
all the
they both have
personas.
done things to each other.
I don't
Yeah,
need
she
Period.
picks with that girl though.
Period. Yeah, she picks at
So
that girl a
It's
lot.
like
Damien,
They do it
Damien,
to each other.
Damien,
I
who
want
who who are you saying picks with who?
Sutton picks with Dorit, like a prime example
Hmm.
when Dorit was trying to be vulnerable with this group of women and say, hey, PK, whatever she said about the kids and PK, and here goes Sutton. Well, we gotta go. Come on now. We don't, whatever she said. She interrupted. It was rude. Y'all know ones out there
Hmm.
watching. Y'all
But
know what I'm
we
talking
got to
about.
go see Garcelle now.
Right, like
Da-da-da-da-da.
she was
Yeah.
very dismissive, and when like a friend is trying to be open with you like that, you don't do that, and that's just one of the many things
but
that she's
dismissive
done.
is different to embarrassing someone and just jabbing them. Like that's different behavior.
But I
Like she
think
was
that
dismissive
Dorit
and
could have said she
interrupt
felt
her.
embarrassed when she got cut off. I would feel embarrassed if someone would cut me off
No,
when I
but
was
that
trying to
wasn't
say something about my
intentional.
son.
Or Victor, if
Don't
you
say
were being
no. It could definitely
vulnerable
be.
and we cut you off, it would be the same thing.
And she's talking
That's
about the fact that her
intentional.
son. She's talking about her son.
But
I don't
I
like what you
stand
said.
by
Period.
what I said because I do think that prior with Garcelle being the first black housewife on Beverly Hills, that has been a constant conversation. Race.
Because of her
Whenever there's
cast
a clash with
members.
Garcelle, it seems like it always becomes the reason why. And it's not the reason why every
It's
single time. And it is an
I
I
unfair
disagree.
thing
I
to
think there are
add to the
those
conversation.
microaggressions. What was the
I
time
think
that
there's a ton of
what what
microaggressions,
was the
especially
time
when
that
Garcelle got on there.
Mitch, what was the time you felt that something was unfairly mischaracterized as a microaggression from Garcelle's behalf?
I think that one of the best examples is her issue with Dorit. I think that
I don't think
sometimes
so. I
the
don't
best
think
example
so.
No.
No.
yeah, it's
the
so
best
funny.
example
No.
is the issue with Dorit. And let me explain why. Because
Okay.
every one of us, me included, we screw up, we mess up, we do it over and over and over again, and we should have the opportunity to get it right for next time. But people are so quick.
And then
They
Dorit
hear
doesn't take it, and she did the same thing
let me
again. It
answer
was repeated offense.
answer the question you raised because I want to answer. It was a good one.
I have something to say after this.
But we mess up over, and people should have the opportunity to get back on track. And what Dorit needed in that moment was a conversation. And she got that conversation and she course corrected. That should be recognized and
But
that
she
should be
needed a few
applauded. It shouldn't be
conversations.
condemned. And there should not be postings about people getting fired because they've screwed up. It happens too many times.
Okay, well, okay, so let me respond to that. But aren't you also the person who says that we mean what we say and you can't take back what you say?
Yeah.
Well,
No,
Yes, I
I
do.
can't with
I
you
do
during the
believe it's
day.
important that we really make sure that we don't just say things and then think it could be forgotten and forgiven with an apology all by itself. Because I don't expect Melody to forgive so quickly because I wouldn't and I haven't.
Day.
But I think that when
so
we
that's what
have
I'm saying, girl. So
I
that, secondly, not done.
okay.
Secondly, if you're saying racist things, you should be fired. Period. There is just no, I don't, it happens all the time. It does not happen enough. I'm sorry. No. Just because it's happened once or two times, this racial thing, especially in our country, is a problem. And until white people find it as a problem and they have an issue with it and they start speaking up, what is going to fix? Nothing's going to be fixed. We can't throw away things like, oh, we can't she 100% has a right to course correct. She has 100% a right to have those conversations, but Garcelle has the right to feel that way about what she's saying because of the privilege that she comes from.
So Mitch,
Period.
can I ask you a follow up?
Yeah.
So quickly, I'm just going to ask you, do you think Garcelle, in order to prevent that backlash on social media for Dorit, for that community, do you think that Garcelle should ignore those microaggressions? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's not about ignoring. It's about having the understanding and giving our.
How is she not
Go ahead.
respond? How is Garcelle not responding correctly in your view?
No, the point that I'm raising is I'm focused on Dorit. I think that Dorit should be given the opportunity to get it right and not be tossed away, thrown away, and postings about someone being fired because they've
Did
said the
Garcelle
wrong
post
thing or
that?
they offended the wrong person. And I think what
Did
is
Garcelle post
considered
that?
what no, I'm not talking about Garcelle. I'm talking about Bravo fans, when someone does something, when someone says something that the masses does not like or they don't think it's the right thing to say, there is such thing as someone trying to get canceled. Folks trying to cancel people because they have had a
But she's still on
misstep.
the
And
show.
I don't think so. But there have been conversations about removing people from the show because they've screwed up, because they've said the wrong thing. Lisa Rinna, Dorit, it's happened. And I don't think it's right. And at times, it's involved Garcelle.
There have been comments about Garcelle's son and saying that you should be on the floor like George Floyd if it
But what
wasn't for
does
your
that
white
have to
dad.
do?
There've
And
been those
that's the
comments.
point that I'm raising, Victor.
Uh-huh.
What does that have to do with Dorit? What does that have to do with Lisa Rinna? And it's
Because
not right that these people are falling on the sword for what boneheads are doing on
my
social
point my
media.
point my point is that people make comments about everything. Some people have made comments about Garcelle shouldn't be on the show if she's raising these issues and doesn't just shut up and kind of just adjust to the group because it's changing the dynamic. It's the same thing with Ebony. We saw the majority of people thought Ebony shouldn't be on the show because she was calling out microaggressions and it was making everyone uncomfortable. We saw the masses say that. That's the thing, and it's this people say these things but there are some people who want accountability, and I think it's just fine to want accountability when you see those microaggressions. I think it's just fine. I don't think it means there's and people are going to the extreme. They're going to say you should be fired. They're going to say I never want to see you on TV again. But people did the same thing to Ebony Williams on The Housewives of New York. People do the same thing to Garcelle. Lots of people post about how Garcelle shouldn't be there because she's speaking about those issues, and maybe those white people watching feel uncomfortable. So to say that Garcelle's doing anything wrong based off people's response, I don't think the way Garcelle responded to microaggressions made any hate unjustifiably come to Dorit's way. I think hate comes no matter what you do, and we've seen hate come on to black women and to people who have done
It's
microaggressions towards black
bullyish.
women.
It's
Well, we saw
bullyish.
Ebony being bullied, and
It's
bullyish is
very
not a word,
bullyish.
but yeah, I think that
It's
what is
bully
bullyish?
behavior.
Bullyish isn't a word. What?
Bullyish. It is bullyish.
Bullyish,
Not the
but
dictionary
that's
over
not a
It's
here.
word,
it's
honey.
bully-ish what I've seen from Garcelle, in my opinion.
Right. Well, we'll put that in the Urban Dictionary. We can put Mitch Kimbrough underneath that. Bullyish. We've learned a new word. We need to get a graphic for that. Bullyish, invented by Mitch Kimbrough right here. Well, congratulations.
But I do think so. I do think so.
You think
I
she
do.
weaponizes her race?
For me, I do think so. And I think that when you're on Watch What
How?
Happens Live
That's a
talking
big
about how
statement. That's a big
Dorit's only
statement that you just
friend is
made.
Erica, that gives me signs.
You think that's
That gives me
weaponizing her
signs that
race,
there's a
Garcelle?
idea, a mental style that Dorit's about to get iced out on an island
But
all
Yeah.
by
mm,
herself.
how you that was a huge statement. Can we just focus on that? How has Garcelle weaponized her race in this group? Tell me something that she has said that was
I
weaponizing
don't
her
agree
race.
with that. I really don't agree with
That
that.
was a big statement.
I think
That was a
coming
big
into a
statement.
predominantly white city and in a predominantly only white cast, if anything, it's been weaponized against
Against
her.
her.
No, I think
Exactly.
that Dorit's
I think that anytime she says anything, they go,
It's
"Oh, it's
aggressive.
not
You're
about making,
attacking
yeah,
me. You're a bully.
you're making everything.
Exactly.
It's not about making it about a race thing. You're making it a race thing. That's
Dorit's
what it is."
missteps, Dorit's missteps on this show, it's unfair for there to be a conversation about
What?
Dorit having a race. Well,
That is
well,
not unfair. Come
okay,
on, Mitch. If there's a
what
microaggression, you have to
what's unfair
challenge where
of
that
that?
comes from. Sorry?
How is that? How is
It's
that not
unfair that
unfair?
Garcelle's calling out a microaggression and having that conversation that you could have unconscious Karen behavior. Because you have admitted on the show that apart from your mom's best friend and me, we're the only black people who've come to your house. There's no other black people. And you're saying I'm bullying you. You're saying I'm attacking you. You find it funny when
So
Garcelle's
what did you hear me?
mixed
What did you
child.
hear me?
I'm not done. I'm not
Well,
done. I'm
I
not
wasn't
done.
done before you reacted to what I said, and now you have an opinion
Well, you
about what
asked
I've
about
said,
my
and you didn't hear.
reaction.
You
You
didn't
asked
hear my
about my
full
reaction.
thought.
So if you're asking
You
about my
didn't hear my
reaction,
full
you should
thought. You had
listen
a
to the
reaction to a
answer.
half thought.
But you
I'm
asked my
asking you, what
opinion
did you
based
hear me
off that.
say? Because you
Uh-huh.
reacted to it, and I wasn't
Okay,
even
I
done
can say what I heard
speaking.
you say.
What was
You
it that you
said,
heard me
Gus,
say?
to me, I
Because you had
heard
a
you,
big reaction to a half thought. Like, what did you hear me say?
you said Garcelle shouldn't have a response. There shouldn't be a dialogue about racist behavior potentially. That's
I
what you
did
said.
not say that.
Well, that's what I
Let me
heard.
let me
Roll the
finish
tape.
the let me finish
Roll
the
back the
point that I
tape.
was. Well, yeah, you reacted to half of what I was saying. I wasn't done speaking. I was saying I was saying that it is unfair for there to be a conversation about Dorit having a racial bias because of a
Why?
misstep. That is my
But she's had
opinion.
several microaggressions. That's the
Mhm.
issue. There's
It
several
wasn't just a
microaggressions.
mishap. It just wasn't a mishap. That's what's
There's
very
several
confusing for me.
We
instances.
Is
see
you keep saying a
accountability from
mishap.
Dorit over
It
and
was
over
just because
again.
you show accountability
I know
doesn't
she
mean that
does
you
the
don't have
same thing.
microaggressions. Those are
You
not
can't say
two separate things.
accountability and then
You
do
can
it
have
again.
microaggression and then take ability for it, but she had microaggressions. They had to be called out. Period. I'm sorry. It wasn't just one instance. It was a bunch of different things that collaboratively made something uncomfortable.
But
That's
saying,
that's just
but saying weaponizing her race, I think that's extreme.
yeah,
I think that's an
that's
extreme statement that you just made. I do, and I don't agree with that. I don't think Garcelle came into this group to weaponize her race as an attack. I do think she came to make certain observations, which echo the way that black women in richer communities or white communities integrate and the types of reactions people have who aren't familiar being around people of color.
I do think it's an armor for her. I think it becomes a convenient armor for her when she's
I don't
convenient. She
in.
think
doesn't take
so.
off her skin
I
color.
think it's
No.
an armor
How is
for
that
her.
convenient?
I think it's an armor for her when she is in those situations. For instance, with Dorit, she's able to have that layer of protection. And I think the audience, some members of the audience, enable that in Garcelle. And I
Well,
don't think it's right because Dorit's the one that takes the fall for it and she takes the sword for it. Just because I said the wrong thing and give me a chance to get it right.
Bitch, you're the person who always tells us that we have to watch what I say. That you say everything perfectly because you want to make sure you're. That's so confusing to me that you would have this opinion and then you tell us that. That's very confusing for
that's why
me
I want to
because
ask you,
that feels
Mitch.
very situational for me. That feels like you're ready to pull that out for certain people, but not for everybody. To be frank.
I want to ask
Because
you.
you literally just told us that we have to watch what we say because we mean what I say. You can't take back what you say because you meant it that first time. You've told it to us a few times. So to hear you say now that that's not, it's just very strange. That is very, very strange.
I
That's
don't
very strange.
I don't think so. I think that both can exist, and I think that both do exist. I think that we have to make sure that when we do make the decision to say whatever it is, that we are very conscious of what we say. But there are those times when we screw up, and we got to take that accountability for that conversation. And there needs to be that grace and that conversation. And hopefully, there are people
I
that
don't
are
think there needs to
willing
be grace.
to let us get on the other side of it. At least that's how I see it. But
I think
I
Damien,
you
don't
what are
think
you
there
just
needs
did.
to be
saying?
I
grace.
think you
I
just
want to
did. I
know. I
think
want
you
to
Well,
just
ask
let
did.
Mitch
Let
this. I want to
Damien.
ask Mitch this. If it's putting you in the same situation
Am
as a
I in the
black
hot seat
man,
on Bro Chat
you
today?
know what?
Okay,
I
I
just
can
want to
take
hear
it.
what
I
you
can
would
take it.
do.
I can
I'm not
take
coming
it.
after you. I just want to.
No,
Or
I can
I'm
take the
not
hot
really.
seat.
I'm not really trying to refute what you're saying. That's your opinion. But if you were put in Garcelle's shoes and maybe it was situational, like with us instead of the housewives, and you were called those things, how would you feel the same way that
Like
Garcelle
if someone
felt?
called me angry?
Yeah, if they were going back and forth with
No,
you, like you're so
no,
angry.
no. I think it's we gotta describe things as they are, how we see them, in my opinion. And I think that
But she wasn't even being angry. If you watch the clip, they showed it 3 times because she wasn't being angry, and that was the point.
and
Was
and
that she
then
was trying to make it like she was angry because again she's black and this girl was white. That's what they were trying to make it seem. They were trying to make
and
it seem
that's the tough part. It's like when you have someone that to
that's the
misspeak, it
microaggression.
goes
But that's the
there.
But
microaggression.
Mitch, I love you, but I have to keep it real. You did do a Kamala word salad to answer
A
Damien's first
Kamala Harris
question.
word
Oh,
salad?
Kamala
No.
Harris word salad. Yes, you did. Because you have said before that you can't take back what you say, and people shouldn't be so quick to forgive. Because I know I'm not. Those were your specific words.
No, I got to work on my forgiveness. I got to work on it. I do. It's one of
But
my
but
big
Garcelle has to forgive so easily. That's what
to-do
I'm saying.
list
So you're saying,
pieces.
so you're advising people in that video that people shouldn't forgive so quickly because you know you wouldn't, but then you think Garcelle should.
I
That's
didn't
what you
mention.
said.
I
You
didn't
said you
mention.
said
I
you said
didn't.
people can't take back
Let
what they
me.
say, and
Let
people
me.
shouldn't be so quick to forgive. That's what you
Let me
said.
correct that because today on this bro chat, I
New
didn't
Mitch.
mention forgiveness.
On this video you did. On
No.
another video you
Well,
did.
everyone, this video will be nearly unedited. Please, in the comment section, give me the timestamp of when I said forgiveness, because I didn't mention that on Bro Chat today. I didn't mention forgiveness today, that Garcelle needs to forgive whoever.
No, but this is another video where you said people shouldn't
Oh,
be
talking
so
about
quick
another
to
Bro Chat.
forgive because we were talking about Destiny and Melody, and you said if you were Melody, you wouldn't be so quick to forgive what Destiny was saying.
Okay, that's then you're saying
But it's
that
contradiction,
the
Mitch.
point
You have
that
to
you're
be
raising is
consistent
that
with what
I'm
you're
saying
saying
that
in your debate.
Garcelle needs to forgive Dorit. I didn't say that. That's not my conversation today.
Well, your conversation today is saying that you can't make one misstep, and it's all like people have to have some grace. You're saying grace today, but another day you were saying people shouldn't be so quick to forgive. But today, people should give grace when people make those missteps. And another day, these statements are big, and I wouldn't. You shouldn't be so quick to forgive because I know I wouldn't, and I know I haven't. That's what you said.
But I think it's important to know exactly in context what I say on Bro Chat and what I'm saying it about. Because there is a such thing as being deliberately cruel and doing things deliberately. And I don't think that Dorit has an intention to do anything to Garcelle that's deliberately cruel. And that's why I think that it's important to consider grace, to consider not nailing someone because they've had a misstep with their words. That's just how I see it. And I think the context, what you're trying to pin me for, which is fine, I can take it. I think it's two different conversations. This conversation is very different from the conversation that you're referencing on a previous bro chat.
Okay, in my opinion, you're doing a Kamala Harris word salad, and that's what I think. And I love
So you
you,
think
and
I'm a
I think you're great.
shapeshifter?
But I do
Okay.
think you're shapeshifting your opinion, and that's just what I think. That's what I
But I
believe.
love,
But it's
but
it's it's not personal. But
one thing I love, I
we are
love
gonna
that
compare.
I love that Boz is on this show. I think we all love
Me
that Boz is
too.
on this
Yeah,
show for different
I love
reasons.
her.
She's my favorite.
I think we all love that
Me
Boz is
too.
on the show for different reasons. For me, I love that Boz is on the show because I appreciate seeing someone give Dorit the benefit of the doubt and a fresh start. She doesn't have a fresh start with a lot of the relationships on this cast, but
Hmm.
with Boz, she gets a fresh start, clean slate, and someone's getting to know her from the very start. And I love that. We all deserve it.
And they're both fashionable, just beautiful girls. Yeah, I'd love to go out to dinner and drinks with them and just,
Yes.
talk about the girls.
All right. So everyone looking in, make sure that you like this bro chat video and let us know, what do you want the bros to debate next? Let us know in the comment section. We'll see you again next time. Don't forget your respective matters. Okay.